How's it going, everybody? Chaotic Meatball here with Beastcoast Pokemon, and it's about time I get around to doing another challenge over here for you guys. This time around, I wanted to do a bit of a race against the timer between the box legendaries of Ruby and Sapphire, Groudon, and Kyogre, but an Emerald version so that I can give them an equal game to clear. Here you'll find the Kyogre run, but if you want to find the Groudon run, make sure to check over on my channel, link in the description. With that said, Kyogre is a massive hulking beast with a base 150 special attack, 140 special defense, and 90 speed, along with 100 HP in attack and 90 defense, adding up for a base stat total of 670. This huge stat line is backed by insanely powerful moves like Surf, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Calm Mind on the special side, and Body Slam, Return, Brick Break, and Ancient Power on the physical side. We're aiming for the former, as Calm Mind makes everything so utterly overpowered that we should be one-shotting, but that's for the run itself. Just a quick refresher on my hardcore Nuzlocke rules. Number 1, if a Pokemon would be knocked out, it's considered dead, and in a solo run like this, requires a reset to the beginning of the game. Number 2, I must nickname my Pokemon. Number 3, I can't use items in battle, but held items and Pokeballs for HM users are allowed. And lastly, number 4, I've got to play on set mode. Though I suppose that one doesn't matter much, as I'm only allowed to use one Pokemon anyway. Speaking of that, double battles will force a second Pokemon in, and in this case it's usually Poochyena, who knows Howl, and will just spam it in order to not really affect the battle as much as possible. Be sure to subscribe here to Beastcoast Pokemon, throw a like on the video, and leave a prediction down in the comments below whether or not you think Kyogre or Groudon will come out on top, and how much in-game time you think this run will take. Let's jump in. So I replaced Mudkip with Kyogre so that May will have Trico. Not that it matters though, since I start out with Water Pulse, eating Trico for breakfast by two-shotting it. Drizzle is an insane ability that also boosts the power of water-type moves by 50%, so even though water isn't very effective on grass types, we can still hit it for almost neutral damage thanks to Drizzle and Stab combined. Now while I'd love to stop here at the beginning and do some EV training, I can't bring myself to do that with Kyogre. There's no effective place to grind up special attack EVs, the closest thing being a 10% Abra on Route 116, and I don't want to continuously run away from Poochyena up on Route 103 for speed EVs from Zigzagoon and Wingull. So I just move on through Routes 102, 104, and the Petalburg Woods on into Rustboro City. I didn't even bother training to the level cap, I just took out Roxanne's gym trainers and challenged her at level 12, water pulsing her entire team for one-shots, including her Nosepass, who isn't even part ground type, to take her badge. Well, that's really quick. Let's see if we can keep up that pace. Route 116 has a bunch of trainers that are avoidable, but I figured I needed as much experience as I can to get to the level cap of Brawley before him, seeing as there's not many trainers to fight before him, unless I go into Granite Cave first and deliver the letter to Steven, but I don't want to go further onward, then have to backtrack for a badge, so I said screw it, bashing my head into the martial artist while having less experience than him shouldn't go wrong whatsoever. Machamp is a one-shot with Water Pulse, as is Meditite, leaving just Makihita, and despite being at a higher level, it also falls to the same one-shot, winning me the fight. Well, shoot, I guess we are keeping up the same pace. Heading on back into Route 104 with Mr. Briny lets me go get the EXP share from Mr. Stone up in Rustboro City, which I'm going to be using on my HM Dingus Poochyena, since I'm gonna need to fight a ton of high-value trainers for money, as I want to ensure that I get Ice Beam and Thunderbolt from the Mauville City Game Corner as soon as possible. And the only way that's gonna happen is if I have that EXP sync, since I'll hit that level cap all too quickly with Kyogre without it. And since I'm not using it in battle, it's fair game. There's nothing else worth talking about here or in Slateport City, so moving on up into Route 110 leads to the hardest battle with May throughout the run, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's hard, as her Grovile's best move to hit me with is a 20 power Absorb. Kyogre's also got access to Ancient Power and Body Slam by this point, so I'm hitting everything for great damage. One-shotting Wingull with Ancient Power, two-shotting Grovile with Water Pulse and Body Slam, then KOing Slugma with Water Pulse to finish the fight.
See ya, chump. What the hell?
Bully Maguire and Spider-Man memes will never get old. Moving into Mauville City, I've got to grab the coin case and Mach Bike, heading into the game corner to see if I can purchase any of those highly sought after TMs, and I don't even have enough money to purchase half of one of them, so it's rummaging time. So I sold as much as possible and fought every trainer I could in the surrounding area with my EXP sync as to not reach the level cap, fighting Watson at level 24. His team is rather frightening since I'm weak to it, not to mention his Voltorb outspeeds me first thing and lands a Spark that paralyzes. Thankfully, I have a held Cherry Berry and KO it. Electrike and Magneton both come out next and fall to each one Water Pulse, leaving just Manectric. Water Pulse doesn't one-shot here, leading to a massive Shockwave that could potentially KO me on the next turn with a high roll, but we narrowly escape the jaws of death by 2 HP, KOing with a second Water Pulse to win the fight. Yeah, it was either an Oran Berry to prevent that, or the Cherry Berry, but I think I would have lost if it weren't for the Cherry Berry. Once again, we're on the adventure of getting enough money for the TMs in the game corner, challenging a bunch of the new available trainers, as well as optional double battles, which I normally wouldn't go after due to the risk of a 2-on-1 scenario, but at this level, I figured it's fine. The win straits give me no problem, they give me a Macho Brace to sell off, so all I need at this point is $30,000 to get one of those TMs. And I'm gunning for Ice Beam first, seeing as I just got Shockwave from Watson, and that can hold the Thunderbolt spot for the foreseeable future. And Kyogre's Learning Calm mine naturally at level 30, so I should have my near final moveset here soon. Routes 112 and 113 provide money, but nothing more than that, getting me into Falarbor Town where I can get a nugget. So there's a significant chunk of money claimed there, and thanks to selling every unneeded item up to this point, I was able to get the 30,000 needed, clearing out Route 114 and Meteor Falls of Team Magma before heading back and obtaining Ice Beam. Alright, I should be in the driver's seat for the rest of this run, and not really needing to stop for much else throughout. Maxie's up next, and this is a really easy fight up on Mount Chimney, though accidentally missing the Person Berries on Route 114 was relatively irritating now that I finally realized it. It doesn't matter at this juncture, seeing as every one of Maxie's Pokemon are one-shots with Water Pulse, taking out Mightyena, Zubat, and Camerupt, which allows me to progress into Flannery's gym. I dodge every trainer in here since, dear lord, I still got pretty close to the level cap, taking her on and water pulsing your entire team once each to win the fight. Sorry about that, bud. Bet you wish Torkoal got Groudon this generation. It's a hop and skip back over to Petalburg City to get me to the 5th gym, and I figured it wouldn't hurt if I go in a level under the level cap, seeing as we only have 2 levels of wiggle room before we hit Winona's cap, though she's relatively easy to get to without fighting extra trainers. Norman's got 4 Pokemon, and Spinda should be an easy thing to set up on. Except again, I forgot the Person Berries on Route 114. Spinda is able to confuse Kyogre with Teeter Dance after I set up 3 Calm Mines, continuously hitting Facade a few times to whittle down my HP. I managed to get out of confusion and set up 1 more Calm Mind as he pulls me down to a quarter of my HP with Facade, but then I'm able to just fire off 4 Water Pulses, KOing Spinda, Vigoroth, Linoone, and Slacking all with 1 apiece to win the fight. Would have gone back to Route 114 to fix this problem, but that takes too much time. I'll go back to get them when I gain access to fly after Winona. With the 5th gym done, I can finally gain access to Surf outside of battle, which means I'm going to be in for some powerful hits, even in double battles. Not to mention, doesn't hit my partner Pokemon, so I still gain the slight statistical advantage of my opponent being an idiot and hitting my Mightyena instead of Kyogre. I know, shady tactics in a solo Nuzlocke, but if Surf KO'd my partner, it's not like it would have mattered anyway. Everything on the field is going to die. With that said, I clear out the Weather Institute, getting a cast form at the end of it that holds a Mystic Water, and you know exactly where that's going. Yet another 10% boost to water moves should make the base power of Surf while holding it effectively 235? I think. If I'm solving using the damage formula from Bulbapedia correctly. Math is hard. Right after is the second to last battle with May, and she's still got a very easy team to take on. Slugma's a one-shot with Surf, Grovile's a one-shot with Ice Beam, and Lombre is a two-shot with Ice Beam and Shockwave after taking a few light love taps like Fake Out. Geez, May, be a little bit more subtle about it to the player character there. With her out of the way, I can head into Fortree City and immediately go out on the other side of Route 120 since I need that Devon Scope to get into the gym. Kyogre should have an easy time in here thanks to the neutral Surf and the super effective Ice Beam and Shockwave, and I easily proved that with this fight. Ice Beam destroys Swablu and Tropius, Shockwave takes out Pelipper, Skarmory falls to an Ice Beam and Surf, leaving just Altaria to die to a quad-effective Ice Beam. Fear the fish now, birds, for you have become the prey. With the power of fly in the palm of my hands, I can technically go back and get those person berries, but I don't think I need them at this point since there's some coming up. I just cleared out a ton of trainers on routes 120 and 121 before seeing Team Aqua grunts running towards Mount Pyre, and I'm a bit of an idiot and go after them immediately instead of going for Lily Cove City beforehand to make it a flyable location. So I wasted time there, but it wasn't the most wasted time. What was the most wasted time was the search for a Wingull up here on Mount Pyre. I swear, for a 10% encounter, it shouldn't take 21 encounters to find. Either way, I catch it in a nest ball, grab the rare candy up on the summit to evolve it into Pelipper so that it can learn more HMs, and fly back to Slateport City to fight some surfing trainers, grabbing HM04 before finally heading to the Magma hideout on Jagged Pass. This place is easy, just destroy everything, get to Maxi and surf his entire team, though Crobat does outspeed and use Confuse Ray, but I had a held Person Berry now to finally negate that and KO through his team one by one. With that, I can finally head into Lily Cove City, and despite this May battle being optional, I'm gonna fight her anyway. She's got 4 Pokemon this time, adding Tropius to the team, but that's quad-effective Ice Beam to go. Grovyle also gets some takeout Ice Beam, which Slugma and Pelipper decide to go a little differently, preferring Surf and Shockwave a la mode. It's hard to come up with unique ways to present battles, don't blame me for that one. With her out of the way, I head back to Slateport to open up the Aqua hideout right there in Lily Cove, and since there's not a major battle in here, I don't really need to talk about it. There's just some dude named Matt at the end. Nobody cares about you, Matt. Why don't you be my doormat while I'm on the way out the frickin' door? Alright, that was a really bad one. I am so sorry. There is a Master Ball in here, which will be used to capture my last HM user in Tentacool, since for some unknown reason, Pelipper can't learn Waterfall or Dive, probably because it's a bird, but why do I need 3 HM users in the same game? Thank God they got rid of these things. I actually had an epiphany right before entering the Mossdeep City Gym, though, and that is because of Drizzle. I have a 100% accurate Thunder that bypasses accuracy checks, getting even more power out of Kyogre than initially planned with Thunderbolt. So I flew back to Lily Cove to get the TM out of the department store, good thing I fought May, I guess, going back and getting through the gym to take on Tate and Liza after fighting some extra trainers since I was 2 levels below the cap. These 2 are always weird when it comes to solo runs, but alas, I just send out Mightyena and have it sit there using Howl. Though this could have been a little bit too much of a crutch seeing as it's a dark type against a dual psychic type gym leader, but I guess it doesn't matter because Claydol falls to Surf, Xatu takes half damage and uses Calm Mind as Soul Rock comes in, then Surf gets a crit on Xatu while also one-shotting Soul Rock, leaving just Lunatone to fall to a Surf as well, all while Mightyena annoys the shit out of everybody in the room by howling too much. Well, that works. So much for being a crutch when you just murder everything to death. One thing I tend to forget about in Emerald is the multi-battle against Magsi and Tabitha in the Mossdeep Space Center, and normally I consider this battle difficult, but because Surf doesn't hit the partner Pokemon, I'm able to rely safely on Metang to pick up KOs where I don't one-shot with Surf, such as with Mightyena, living on a Sliverin being taken out with Metal Claw, then it sets up Reflect as I one-shot Camerupt and nearly take out Golbat, leading to their Crobat. I figured Metang would target it with Metal Claw again, so I shifted to using Thunder on Crobat, and sure enough it does, taking them both out that turn and leaving just Tabitha's Mightyena to get donked with the Metal Claw and Thunder, winning us the match. Metang was also confused through a bit of that, and didn't hit itself once. Good on it for being such a trooper through that fight. With that, the story decides to CYN. That's control your narrative for wrestling fans, but here it stands for clench your nuts. Or both. Technically, the game is doing both to us right now. Either way, it's not a long period of narrative or nut clenching, only involving a battle with Archie over in the Seafloor Cavern that doesn't stand up to Thunder very well. Mightyena goes down to Surf, and Crobat and Sharpedo both go down to Thunder to win. Flying back to Sootopolis, though, reveals that there's an imposter among us. What? Look at that Kyogre. It's totally sus. I'm the one using the real Beast of the Seas. Well, after getting Rayquaza to shoo them off, it's time for the last gym. It's a water gym, so I'm gonna Thunder everything that's not part ground type, and yeah, that's basically effective. Juan is a very easy leader to take down, but I kinda screwed it up because his Love Disc outspeeds and lands Sweet Kiss while I'm not holding a Person Berry. I do land Thunder to KO, but that's not good because he sends in Whiscash second, and it happens to have Amnesia, which it uses immediately. Great. I didn't expect that fish to outspeed, so I'm using a held Citrus Berry, though I'm able to snap out, setting up 2 Calm Minds just in time since a critical Earthquake takes Kyogre down to 10 HP, healing back up to 40 with said Citrus Berry. I would have survived another non-crit Earthquake at this point, but a critical Surf from my end allows me to not test that theory, KOing Whiscash and leading to Celio. The rest of his team falls to Thunder, though, KOing Celio and Groudon, leaving just Kingdra. It's frighteningly outspeeding me, but he goes for Double Team. Sucks to suck, since Thunder doesn't do an accuracy check. You'd think the AI would account for that, but it doesn't, so I KO and win the fight. 8 badges in hand, 3 HM users, and 1 overleveled Fish Dingus. We're ready for the league. I suppose I can talk about the Wally fight near the beginning of Victory Road, as it's the only major battle before the Elite Four. He's pretty much a joke, though, as Altaria dies to Ice Beam, Magneton falls to Surf, Roselia freezes in place with Ice Beam, Delcatty rests in pieces with Surf, and Gardevoir drowns despite psychic powers, winning me the battle. Sorry about gruesomely tearing apart your team there, buddy. Go back to Verdanturf where your asthma won't kick up or something. 1 Victory Road and a rare candy search later, and we're up to the level cap, though I make sure to edge Kyogre up just before leveling past the cap of 55 for Drake's Ace, as it's allowed by the rules, and let's push them as much as we physically can. Sydney's up first, and I outspeed his entire team. Surf to Mightyena, Ice Beam to Cacturne and Shiftry, Thunder to Groudon, and Surf to Absol finishes that suite of monsters in 5 turns. No problem. Second up is Phoebe, and she's the same way. Though Protect at the beginning for the first 2 turns with Dusclops is a bit of an irritant, it doesn't matter, as the next 5 turns consist of me one-shotting Dusclops, Bayonet number 2, Sableye, and Dusclops number 2, all with 1 Surf apiece, winning me the fight without damage. That's 2 for 2. Glacia is the first real problem in this league, though, and that's because I can't hit Ice for much damage at all. Not to mention, Celio immediately goes for Hail, though it doesn't register in my mind since Thunder still hits despite it after setting up 3 Calm Minds, surviving through 2 Body Slams without paralysis before getting the KO. Surf KO's Glalie next, then out comes Celio number 2 for another Thunder to land, as does Glalie number 2 come out. But I don't go for Surf, I actually go for Thunder again, and it lands again while Hail is still going. Finally, out comes Walrein, and Thunder lands again despite it still hailing. I guess it just doesn't matter. My brain is like, ooh, maybe click super effective button, and it just so happened to work. Moving on, I guess. Drake is the last of the 4, and he's such an easy fight because of Ice Beam. Not to mention, he's an easy tell. Shelgon always goes for Protect at first, at least from my experience, so I go for Calm Mind, then again. Since the Protect is successful on the 2nd try, I go for Ice Beam on the 3rd turn to KO. If it wasn't successful, I would have gone for a 3rd Calm Mind, since he would have likely gone for a 3rd Protect. Then I would have gone for Ice Beam, but it doesn't really matter. With +2, I can easily rip through the rest of his team in Altaria with Ice Beam, Kingdra with Thunder, then Flygon and Salamence with Ice Beam to win without a single point of damage. That's 3 for 4 with no damage, and with 1 Max Elixir later, we're ready to take on Wallace. His full team starts off with Wailord, and because of it using Double Edge, I figured I'd set up 2 Calm Minds, take half damage, and fire off Thunder to KO. Second is Ludicolo, once again with the AI making the mistake of double teaming after outspeeding despite the lack of accuracy check with Drizzle and Thunder, so I KO, leaving the rest of the team to be outsped and picked off. Tentacruel with Thunder, Milotic with Thunder, Whiscash with Surf, and thankfully without the scare that Juan gave me, and Gyarados with Thunder, pushing Kyogre up to level 60 and giving me the easy win. Yeah, no wonder Kyogre has been part of the best legendaries in any restricted VGC format it's ever been a part of, primal or not. The sheer power of special moves, especially in Gen 3 with Water and Electric, is just immense. Not to mention having the power of the Bolt Beam combo, but with a 120 power Thunder rather than the 95 power Thunderbolt, all wrapped in with Calm Mind makes it a beast. Coming at the end of this challenge with a time of 7 hours and 34 minutes. Now I have a hard time believing that Groudon will be able to beat that time, but make sure you go see for yourself over on my channel. The Groudon run is up and waiting for you. thank you guys so much for watching. Just another reminder to make sure to subscribe here to Beastcoast Pokemon. As you've seen probably in our last video, the animation with Aaron Cybertron Zhang said that we are 80% of our viewers are unsubscribed. So we would like to decrease that number, and we would really appreciate you for coming along with the ride, and we will see you guys later.